when they, I remember one thing, because even though we had our scheduled days, like if we were traveling, if you and Jack were traveling, or if Brent and I were traveling, we really didn't have any problem swapping days, so that we could travel. I don't really remember any problems where it was like that one of us said no, we can't. That's
Yeah.
something that we have problems with our clients, are like, I don't want to change. What was your view on like
Yeah.
doing those flips?
Yeah, I don't think that was a problem. And another thing that we did, because I remember when we first started the schedule, we only had Wednesdays. It was Wednesday and every other weekend. And then we changed it to Wednesday, Thursday, so the kids wouldn't have to flip back and forth for just a day on
Hmm.
when it was a weekend, to be somewhere. So that was one thing. But yeah, I've never had, I mean, that doesn't hurt. That just hurts the kids when you're fighting over something like that. So, and it's not going to, I mean, unless somebody really truly had something scheduled that they couldn't change it for some reason with like work or something like that. But if it's just a matter of throwing the schedule off or having them why wouldn't you want to have them an extra week or, something? So yeah, I
Do
never,
you remember those times where when we would travel or we would switch, so you'd have them 2 weekends in a row because we'd flop
yeah,
weekends, and then we would have them 2 weekends in a row. And so I remember one conversation, I think you and I were talking, I was like, it's your weekend, right? And I remember you were like, oh no, I've had them 2 weekends in a row. It's your
it's
weekend.
your weekend.
you know? And so you know, I think being a divorced parent, it's got to be hard not being with your kids every day. Um, but even, I mean, parents need breaks. um, Raising kids is hard. And I think, I mean, eh, you know, it's not easy. They don't come with handbooks and they don't ever follow rules. And so I remember that as one thing in our relationship, kind of as we moved along, it was like, oh no, it's your weekend, which is key for like, no, I need a break
Yeah.
too. And it was the same thing. I mean, sometimes it's really hard managing them and doing all of their stuff in flipping. What I think we talked about, remember that one um, video that we did when we were all interviewed about it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and when the interviewers were asking the kids about, well, do you ever forget where you're supposed to be? And the kids are like, no. I mean, you know it's, and they were, no, it's Monday, Tuesday it's mom's, and Wednesday, Thursday it's dad's. And then it would be like, no, our friends would forget where we were.
Yeah.
um but that's when it was like we still had a landline. um Now they're just instantly accessible.
Right.
um what was it like in terms of having you and Jack married, and Jack doesn't have children other than the two with you, and Brent and I are married, and I don't have any children outside of these two kids. So
Right.
what I don't want to say upside, or what did that bring to the table, or what do you think that was easier than maybe what some of the, like, our friends have had to deal with, or
Oh
not?
yeah. I think it's definitely easier as far as, I kind of used to joke about that because I said when I was dating before I got married, I was like, I don't want to date somebody with kids. But that's kind of ironic because they're going to have to take on my kids if it's somebody, I wanted somebody who would take on my kids, but I didn't want to date somebody that had kids. And only because, only because I didn't want that conflict because you don't know if the kids are going to get along, you don't
Right.
know, and all that. And so I was kind of weird about that, but, which I probably still would have, if I would have met somebody that had kids, I probably would have done it. But um, I think it was a good thing. I said that it's good because they have four parents and they're the only kids. So they got extra spoiled because they had four people to take care of them and stuff and love them. Um, I feel bad for you and Jack.
Why?
Because, well, for Jack, I can tell you for one thing, you know Jack, and you know where his house was, like we used to joke and call it the museum because there was nothing
Yes.
out of space and out of place, and it was perfectly clean and everything. And he moved into my house with well, at that time they were what, so
Five
seven,
and seven? Five and
uh,
5 and 9? Five
yeah, I
and
think,
9?
yeah, 5 and 9 or 6 and 10. I kept 3 years later, so six and
Mm-hmm.
10. And we had so a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 90-pound lab that shed all over the house. So, and so it was a big change for him. He had to
Mm-hmm.
adapt to, he'd been married before, but only for 5 years. And so he'd spent his life with basically himself living in a house. And then he had children running around and their friends running around and the dog running around. And you were kind of the same way. I mean, it's like, you get thrown into this, okay, now I'm a mom. And so it's like, it's a big change for you guys too. So it's like, you know, I think everybody did great. And he says he can't imagine his life any different now. He loves the
Oh,
kids to death and loved Dakota to death. And it was,
yeah. I
so,
know. I think I always thought that I, wanted, I mean, I'd been married before, not very long, and didn't have children. And then, I always thought that I would, maybe. But then when you get into it, and I mean, uh, I only got in Alexa like at the end of I mean, at the potty training, like almost, just
yeah,
um kids are hard. I mean,
yeah,
little people are hard.
yeah,
And then it was kind of like, this is this is man this is not manageable. I would never say that it was like totally manageable, because it with kids, it's, you never know what's going to happen. But you know, I had a schedule. They went someplace. Oh my gosh, what was it? Alexa, do you remember the story about when she was asking? She was gonna. Didn't she ask you and Jack if you were gonna have kids,
oh yeah.
or she told you? What did she tell you when she was little about you and Jack having kids?
Oh, I can't even. I know she was always worried about us having
She
kids.
said it would have to come
Oh
with
yeah, I would have to
you,
come with you guys too. Yeah, she asked if we had a baby, if the baby would go on the weekends over to Brent's house too. So over to Brent and Stacy's. So
because it
her dad
wouldn't be
and
fair.
Stacy's. Yeah, because she's like, it wouldn't be fair if the baby doesn't have to go too. So everybody should have to go. And I'm like, well, you'd have to work that one out. That would be kind of tricky. Yeah.
Kids think about things in the funniest way. I mean, I think I think parents overthink it. Um, and maybe if we just step back and listen to the kids a little more, it would um, be easier.